Please come. Sit down.
Good morning. Good morning. Not exactly morning.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah.
You're interviewing in the morning?
No, afternoon.
Oh, then you should say afternoon, whether it's morning or not.
What's your first name?
Sudheer, sir.
Sudheer.
Gaddam is my surname, sir.
Gaddam is something. Oh, you can unbutton your coat. Sudheer, introduce yourself to the board.
Sir, my name is Gaddan Sudheer Kumar Reddy. I hail from a town called Koilakuntla, Kurnool district, state of Andhra Pradesh, sir. I did most of my schooling in state of Andhra Pradesh itself. Later on, I pursued my BTech in aerospace engineering from IIT Kharagpur, sir. Sir, I am also an amateur coin collector. Coin collector, sir.
When did you pass out from Kharagpur?
Sir, I passed out in 2017.
And what have you been doing after that?
Sir, I wrote civil services as well as forest service, sir, along with my state PSC exams, sir. So this is my fourth attempt. Last year, I went up to interview stage, sir.
How many marks did you get?
So I got 165, sir.
Still you didn't make it to any service?
Yes, sir. My scores were below par in mains, sir.
Mains. Okay. But you are not working anywhere?
Not yet, sir.
Dr. Sinha?
Sudheer, you have played cricket,
Yes, sir.
inter-hall cricket.
Yes, sir. I was an off spinner bowler, sir.
You are a
Off spinner.
off spinner.
Yes.
Okay. So, do you think Shane Warne was the greatest leg spinner?
So definitely, sir.
Why?
Sir, in the past, before Shane Warne era, leg spin was criticized that it is very difficult to control leg spin. Very few people mastered the art of leg spin, sir. Whereas Shane Warne mastered it and also introduced new variations into leg spin, sir.
What was the variation?
So flipper or the straight one. Even his googly was also very good, sir.
Okay, who was India's greatest leg spinner?
Anil Kumble, sir.
How would you compare both of them?
Sir, both of them are different bowlers, sir. Anil Kumble is more taller. He used to extract more bounce from the pitch, whereas Shane Warne used to rely more on deviations from the pitch. So since he's from Australia, bounce used to be naturally on the pitch, sir. So he had to rely more on the lateral spin.
But that's your opinion. You
Yes,
know what
sir.
Sunil Gavaskar said?
Yes.
He said Shane Warne is not the greatest leg spinner.
I think it's matter of an individual opinion, sir.
All right. So today, IPL. Do you think we are benefiting anything out of IPL?
Sir,
Apart from a lot of money and some exposure to international players playing in India. Apart from that,
sir, IPL has been criticized that it has commercialized cricket a lot.
what is your opinion?
Sir, I would like to, if you allow me, I would like to narrate my personal story, sir.
No
So
story.
in this
Just give
context,
a
it
very
is
short brief. to the
it's
point.
very very short, sir. When I was in my school days, when I asked my father that I would like to pursue cricket as a career option, he told that if I have to translate in Hindi, he told that वो बड़ा लोगों का खेल है. So maybe if he has seen IPL, the success of IPL, maybe he would have rethought that cricket is a good career option. You can settle down even though if you don't play international
I
stage.
agree to that point, but extreme form of commercialization, do you think it is all beneficial? Today you have a whole large number of cricketers who just want to play IPL, nothing else. They don't want to play for India. So, what about our bench strength? You saw when we went abroad just now, South Africa.
Yes.
We used to get out in 2 days. India got out for 80 runs.
Yes.
Are you aware of that?
Last time around, sir.
Last time when we went abroad,
Yes.
that is because of this IPL. Everyone wants to hit a sixer every ball.
Sir, I tend to disagree, sir.
Okay, tell me.
So our brain strength had indeed improved after IPL, sir. We got to know about lot of talent. So in fact, many IPL teams are investing in a talent, sir. For example, Bumrah, our premier fast bowler, was invested by
Right.
Mumbai Indians, sir.
But how has it impacted our performance abroad? You tell me.
Sir, if you compare it from 2011 to 2015 or 2015 to 2020. In fact, lot of players right now in Test cricket have been found in IPL, sir. They are performing exceedingly well even in Test cricket, and they in fact value Test
Give
cricket more than
example.
anything.
Example.
Sir, for example, Rishabh Pant, Shardul Thakur, or even Bumrah. Bumrah clearly told in many press conference that he values red ball cricket more than any other format. This has been the statement of even Virat Kohli too, sir.
Okay. All right. So, you take interest in international affairs?
Sir, to some extent, sir.
To some extent. Certainly about China you would know.
Yes, sir.
Very important. Many people describe India's relationship with China in 3 words: cooperation, competition, and even conflict. 3 words. What is your impression?
Sir,
The point I'm making, can we summarize the entire relationship in 3 words: cooperation, competition, and conflict?
Yes, sir, to some extent. But of late, given that growing aggressive nature of China, maybe the angle of cooperation is going down. Maybe more of conflict and competition is on the higher side, sir.
So you give example of each of them, 3 of them, just one example.
So cooperation, we have been trading a lot with China, or we have similarities in tackling climate change, given that both of us are getting affected by climate change, sir. So as well as keeping the interest of developing countries in
All right.
WTO. Competition, reducing China's dominance in Indian Ocean or even in our neighborhood, South Asia or extended regions, given that China is extensively investing in infrastructure projects under BRA, sir.
Okay.
Conflict, we can see at the border, sir.
Okay. So then, final question I'll ask you: how do we overcome this China challenge?
Sir, we have to invest in our comprehensive national power, sir.
Comprehensive
National power.
national
Comprehensive national power, sir.
power. Okay.
So be it in terms of reforming our economy, still we are even less than 20% of China's GDP, sir. Improving and modernizing our military into command structures, better command structures, as well as diversifying our arms, sir. Not just depending on a single country, putting more emphasis on indigenization, improving our R&D ecosystem, as well as human capital, sir.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sudhir, you come from Kurnool district.
Yes, sir.
Now your state was in news regarding the capital city.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what exactly happened?
Sir, government has proposed to put forward 3 capitals for the state, sir. Kurnool as judicial capital, Vijayawada as legislative capital, and Vizag as executive capital, sir.
I know, but what is the latest status?
So, government has took the law back, sir, given that it has been facing legal issues from high court, sir. So, at present, it's still in doldrum, sir. It is yet to take place.
No, but High Court has given an order. Are you aware?
Yes, sir. I'm aware, sir.
High Court has set aside the government decision
Yes, sir. Set aside and gave 6 months time for the government to develop Amaravati as capital, sir.
as capital. Okay. Now, your present government, your present state government, when they took office, when they came into office, they started cancelling the PPAs of many power companies.
Yes, sir.
What are your views on that?
Sir, it is wrong on the part of state government, sir, which without finding any evidence of corruption, cancelling PPAs has sent a bad signal to investors, sir. So it
But
has
they were saying the PPAs were not priced correctly.
Sir, without finding the evidence of corruption, I think going back on the agreement is bad, sir. If the prices are high, then it is based on the risk of the investment, sir. Given that renewable sector is still very new, investor took the risk, sir. Maybe they deserve better price given the scenario back then. I think judging from present, it would be a bad decision, sir. That prices were high compared to present scenario or present sector.
No, but what do you do in such case? See, you have signed PPAs which may be valid for 30 years, 35 years.
Sir.
Maybe when they were signed, the cost was okay.
Yes, sir.
But now you are getting power at much cheaper rate and renewable energy is also coming. So what do you do? You remain committed to them for 35 years.
Yes, sir. I personally believe that sanctity of the contract should be maintained, sir. So it upholds rule of law, creates better confidence in the investors. Or maybe if you are venturing into new other sectors, maybe if you take those type of decisions, it will definitely impact new investors who are planning to invest further. Whole growth of the sector will be jeopardized, sir.
Of the sector, or maybe in other
Even in the
areas
larger
also?
economy, sir.
Okay. Now let's move to a different subject. What is the commitment given by, rather announcement made by the Prime Minister in Glasgow?
India has committed towards net neutral. Sorry, sir. Cutting down emission. I'm not able to recall the exact phrase, sir.
Okay.
So we have committed 5 goals at Glasgow summit, sir.
You have committed?
5 goals in terms of reducing emissions.
Can you name any one or two of them?
Sir, by 2040, 50% of our energy mix will be from renewable sector. So taking forward from present 250 gigawatts target to 500 gigawatts from renewable energy in 2040, sir. And reducing the emission intensity on GDP to 50%, sir. I'm not able to exactly recall the final
GDP?
details, sir. No, emission intensity on GDP, sir. For example, for growth in GDP, how much emissions more we are doing? We are reducing that emission intensity, sir.
Okay. Now, what exactly were the concerns expressed in this meeting?
Sir, it was criticized that India was not really ambitious.
No, don't talk of India. Talk of the general concerns expressed. What was the goal set in Paris Accord, and what was the status of compliance?
Sir, Paris Accord goal is to reduce the temperature rise to below 2 degrees centigrade, sir, preferably 1.5 degrees centigrade, sir. But the funding from developed countries has been lagging, sir, to accomplish those goals.
Okay, that is one thing. What else?
Sorry, sir, I'm not able to recollect.
No, major goal you expressed very clearly. Paris, they decided that the temperature must be kept within 2 degrees
Yes, sir.
or 1.5 preferably.
Yes, sir.
What was found? Whether are we on the road to meeting this target?
No, sir. At present, given the trajectory, world emission reports estimate that we might breach even 3 degrees centigrade.
3?
Yes, sir. 3 degrees. Even in fact, in polar regions, it could go even beyond 5 degrees centigrade, sir.
Okay. Let's move to a different subject. What do you know? What is FDI?
Sir, foreign direct investments.
And in what other manner can the foreign investment come? FDI is one.
Foreign portfolio investments.
Portfolio investment. Now, which one is preferable?
Sir, both has its more merits and demerits, sir. So, generally it
You
is
are
hailed
guessing
that,
or you know?
No, I know it, sir. Generally it is hailed that FDA has more benefits, but because it is more long-term view and involves transfer of technology,
It does involve.
it does
Is
involve.
it necessary?
Need not, sir. It does involve.
It may involve.
It may involve,
Ah,
which is not the case
necessary.
with
Transfer
foreign.
of technology is not a necessary ingredient.
But better practices do come, sir. So all the practices which were successful in their home country, they tend to adopt. For example, many Japanese companies tend to adopt their Japanese system in India, be it in terms of worker.
How does FDI differ from FII or FPI?
Sir, FPI, it is termed that if it is 10%, if the share investment is below 10%, it is called as FPI, sir.
Is that so?
Share of what?
So investment into the company, ma'am.
Is that so? Is that the definition?
Sir, I'm not able to recall exactly, sir. I will read more about it, sir.
Okay, my last question. Edible oil prices are rising. Can you give the reason why it is so?
Sir, edible oil prices have a correlation with the fuel prices, sir. So when fuel prices tend to rise, edible oil prices also tend to rise, sir.
What is the correlation?
Sir, edible oil can also be modified into fuel, sir.
Okay.
So they, in a way, they have a correlation, sir.
Maybe you are right. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
You are Sudhir, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Your name is Sudhir. And you have some very interesting interests, as you highlighted, numismatics. Very good. So tell me, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he made an experiment in this area. What was it?
Madam, he introduced copper coins, madam.
Copper and?
Copper coins, whatever I can
Okay,
recall.
all right.
So
In place of, what was there before
in
that?
place of gold coins, madam.
And what happened?
So it failed, madam.
Why?
Whereas the copper coins value, he pegged it to a higher value, madam. Whereas intrinsic value of the copper coin is very low.
Today it's happening.
So-
Today you have rupee notes.
Yes,
I mean, he was actually much ahead of his times. So what went wrong?
A lot of counterfeit currency were manufactured, madam. Whereas at present systems are very strong. It is very difficult to counterfeit, madam. So people started counterfeiting the copper coin, and that experiment has failed.
Then after that, what happened?
He had
They
to give up on,
counterfeited. Then what happened?
he had to give up on that idea, madam.
Other problem. It is likened, people say that the present government can take heart that this is not the first time they have failed demonetization. Muhammad bin Tughlaq was before them. Comment on this statement. You understood my statement?
Yes, ma'am.
A comment is made that the government that did demonetization couple of years back can take heart from the fact that it was not the first time that such a thing failed. Muhammad bin Tughlaq did it before him. Comment on this.
Madam, I think both are different things to compare, madam. Whereas this was his new coin experimentation, whereas demonetization is a different thing. madam.
Outcome was the same, caused misery to everyone.
Yes, madam. Economic impact might have taken place, but the cause of it is different, madam. Demonetization is
Okay,
introduced.
all right, we know that, pedantic. Now, what exactly went wrong with the demonetization this time?
Madam.
It was done in the past also,
Yes, madam.
but how was that demonetization, this demonetization different? And what went wrong this time?
So this is the third demonetization took place in independent India, madam. Demonetization, according to RBI report, that 98% of the currency, 98.96 of the currency has returned. So which is way beyond the government estimated, madam. So government thought that some of the currency would not come back.
What were
They
the
can-
objectives? First of all, start with that.
Yes, ma'am.
What were the objectives of government, the three objectives? What were they?
Our objectives was to tackle black money, tackle terrorism and funding of terrorism and other illegal activities, and also improve the digital sector, digital payment sector in India.
Bhagwan, go on. So now, to what extent was each of these addressed?
Yes, ma'am. Digital payment sector has indeed improved.
Digital was also an objective of demonetization,
Yes, madam.
or a byproduct.
Byproduct, madam.
All right. Then,
Digitalization has indeed improved, madam.
Okay.
Given the introduction of UPI and other payment apps.
that's the most important outcome, huh?
Yes, madam. But it was, many criticized that it was unintended outcome.
Yes, yes. Come to the core of the matter. These are all peripheral. What was the core? What happened? What went wrong?
Lot of currency has come back, madam, way beyond government estimated, madam. So it is predicted that maybe
So if everything has
Given-
come back, then why did the economy take a beating?
some lot of informal sector has affected, madam, given the cash crunch.
Everything has come back. They've been paid for it. So why a cash crunch?
Madam, in the 2 months, there was a lot of red tapeism in terms of taking
2
out
months
the
is all the problem that was there.
No, it had a lasting impact for at least 2 to 3 quarters, madam. Given that we recently also introduced GST, so it had a prolonged effect along with growing NPS in banking sector, madam. Pre-pandemic times, in fact,
What is the connection growing NPAs between this? What's the connection?
so I meant that it impacted economy very severely, madam. So after every incident, from demonetization to GST to NPS, growing NPS has reduced our GDP growth, ma'am.
All right. Okay. Okay. You heard of TRIPS?
Trade-related intellectual property rights, ma'am.
Okay. Very good. What is it?
Madam, it is an agreement under WTO, madam, to manage patents related with the trade.
And what is the dispute in it? between developed and developing nations? What is the problem?
So, madam, global health challenge is the biggest issue, madam. So, developed countries want to protect their patents at the cost of global health, madam. Accessible health, especially in developing countries, madam. Also, evergreening of patents is also bigger
Where
issue.
does India stand on this issue?
So, we have always stood for global health, madam. So, we always criticize the evergreening of patents by big pharma
Is it
corporates.
just an ideological stand for global health, or are our commercial interests also affected?
Sir, our commercial interests are also interlinked, madam,
In
given
what
that
way?
we have a large generic pharmaceutical industry, madam.
Can you recall any famous, you ever mentioned evergreening,
Yes.
so what comes to mind in terms of Supreme Court orders straight away? Which
Just
one?
regarding, there was a litigation regarding Section 3D of Patents Act
Very good.
in Novartis versus Union of India case. Madam.
Yes.
There was also another famous case, madam, Nexaver's Bayer case, madam.
There have been many.
Yes.
There have been many. Which diseases have been largely affected? Most, in terms of patents, which are the diseases in India where maximum impact has come?
Cancer treatment.
And okay, all right. What are? Can you name the main IP instruments? Various instruments, intellectual property instruments. Which are they?
Patents, trademarks, geographical.
What are trademarks?
Madam, every company has their symbol or the slogan, madam. That is called trademark.
All right.
Copyrights.
What are copyrights?
Madam, if an art form or a written book form by any author, he has a copyright claim on those
Okay.
unique
Anything
art,
else?
madam.
Any other? GI is a
Industrial
kind
design.
of patient.
Yes, madam. Industrial designs.
Sorry?
Industrial designs.
What are those?
Madam,
Explain
external form of a mobile phone or any electronic devices. Madam. So there was a conflict between Samsung and Apple on industrial designs, madam, regarding the features and the form of the mobile phones that Samsung is copying from Apple.
We call that industrial design specific one. What is Doha Agreement in this context?
Yes, madam.
Or shall I say, put it differently? What is TRIPS Plus and what is India's stand on that?
TRIPS Plus is demanding for a better implementation of secondary patenting or evergreening of patents. We have clearly took our stand against it, madam, that given that it has impact on our global health.
Okay, all right. You have given UP as a first choice in your third zone. Huh? Have you ever been to Lucknow?
No, ma'am.
You know about Lucknow?
Few things, ma'am.
It is said that around a couple of decades ago, Hyderabad and Lucknow were exactly the same, similar. Now, of course, they are very dissimilar. So, in what ways were they similar, would you say?
Madam, Hyderabad and Lucknow were provinces of Mughal region, madam.
Mughal region.
Mughal Empire, madam. So when Mughal Empire was disintegrating, the Lucknow region and Hyderabad region had their own autonomy, madam. So along with Mughal influence and their own regional flavor, new culture synthesized in those regions, madam. Be it in Lucknow or in Hyderabad, madam. So we can see some similarities given the
Okay, what are the similarities? This is all background. What are similarities, I'm asking?
food, ma'am. Food.
What is that?
Non-vegetarian food, ma'am. Be it in terms of diverse dishes, especially in mutton in Hyderabad as well as in Lucknow, ma'am.
And
Textiles, ma'am.
I have to extract everything out from you. You're a one-liner, one-worder. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So Sudhir, a coin collector went to an archaeological site and there he saw a coin in which was written 76 BC, and he took it to an expert and that expert immediately said this is a fake. How did that expert know that it was a fake?
If you allow me, I would like to have a probable guess. Maybe in the 76 BC, coins were yet not adopted.
This is a common sense question. I'll give you the answer during the feedback. IIT Kharagpur. Where would you get a law degree from IIT Kharagpur?
Rajiv Gandhi Law School is there, sir, especially dealing with intellectual property rights.
That's right. My son got it from there. That's how I know. Okay, your interest in cricket. There's only one bowler. He took a hat trick in the very first over of a test. Who was he?
Irfan Pathan.
That's right. So, which were the two competing teams? Which countries were playing?
India and Pakistan in Pakistan, sir.
And who was the winner of that test match? Who won that test match?
Pakistan won it, sir.
That's very good. You know all about it. Now, in Indian mythology, Ravan is credited with having 10 heads. Right? Everyone knows that. How is it? How did he get those 10 heads? Surely you must have been curious at some point of time. Are you aware?
Sir, he prayed for Lord Shiva, if I can recall it correctly, sir. Sir,
And then what happened?
I'm not able to recall. I might have seen it in the cartoon, so I'm not sure whether it is a true story from the text.
Right. Video gaming. Can you tell me what are the pros and cons? There are some pluses, some minuses. Give me one example which is useful and one which is injurious.
Sir, positive would be your instincts will get more sharper, sir.
Reflexes.
Reflexes will get more sharper. Even the concentration level is very high while playing games, sir. So, whereas the negative side is it is very addictive, sir. So, even some people are extremely successful in video games, whereas they tend to be unsuccessful in real life, sir. They tend to have that sort of a shallowness in their lives, sir. So, it is in many research paper hypothesizes that people tend to have higher suicide rates who are extremely into gaming, sir. Video gaming.
Right, my last question. Have you heard of this concept of a living will? And how is it different from a normal will?
It has been in the news in the context of advanced medical directives, sir. The Supreme Court case regarding living will, sir. When a patient feels that he may not live or he may go into vegetative state, he writes a living will that I am giving consent so that they can they can stop all the medication to him so that he can die in a natural way, sir. So that there will be less financial burden on the families.
Right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Sudhir, please wait for a few minutes. We'll call you for feedback.
Thank you, sir.